Well, I'm Guy Roginson, and this is a special edition of the signalsaz.com podcast. Today, I've got Vince Redgrave, Executive Director of Industry and Innovation, as well as Karen Jones, Director of the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great How are you? I'm excited today because this is a big deal up here. I've been tracking Yavapai College and what they've been doing in this realm for a long time. Talking Glass Media produced Rise of the Trades magazine a few years ago, which was really kind of a passion project of mine. Love working with my hands, but I also know the great need we have for a skilled workforce right now. Mm-hmm. We hear it so much, it's almost becoming cliche. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to talk about today is what you guys do, why you do it, how you do it, how important you guys are, and what the REDC at Yavapai College does for the community. So thanks for coming in to take the time. I mean that. There's a big need for workforce training. Can you guys give us some examples of what you're seeing out there that businesses are looking for, and how often are businesses pinging you for, hey, I need skilled employees, I need skilled professionals on my staff?
Sure. I think, Guy, I'll start with that and then pass it over to Karen. But we're hearing that cliched story, if you like, on a daily basis. And that's not just from our larger employers, it's right across the board. So it's from the small business owners, whether that might be somebody automotive or some entrepreneur who's developing something new, up to the biggest employers that, we have in the local county. So whether that covers healthcare, it covers the emergency services. So the story is kind of the same, that there is certainly a gap in terms of what the employers are requiring in terms of number of people, but also, as you mentioned, that skill level. So there is this gap, and I'm happy to say that, Yavapai College and the REDC on behalf of Yavapai College are here to fill that gap and help those local businesses and organizations really to move the needle, so that we're certainly not falling behind, but we're at the very least keeping up with what's happening that's driving the local economy and the economy at large. And then also, we're fortunate that we have some wonderful businesses and entrepreneurs in the region, so that we can aptly provide the right kind of talent at the right level and at the right time, hopefully, so that they can innovate and move the economy forward.
Okay.
Karen, do you want to add something to that?
So I pulled some numbers this morning just to kind of see where we are, what job openings are out there. And I'm looking at skilled trades. I'm not service or retail, but our biggest job openings right now are in healthcare. We average about 430 job openings a month over the last year.
430 a month in healthcare alone, or just in
healthcare?
Just in healthcare.
So it could be a caregiver, it could be a registered nurse, it could be in any of the fields in healthcare. It could even be EMT, fire, whatever that might be. The next biggest opening is in business. So we're looking for management. We're averaging about 200 a month. And so that could be an accountant, finance. Yeah. And then IT, so computers and software. So about 50 a month. And then our other big one is CDL, so drivers, about 125 a month.
Logistics. So in healthcare, I saw an interesting data point was for every doctor that comes in, I think they employ anywhere from 6 to 9 people. Does that sound about right?
It does. I know we have the same statistics for an engineer. So they would have 2 direct sub-engineers and then 7 underneath them. So it's very similar.
Okay. So talk to us about, for people that don't know, what the mission of the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College is. What's your mission? What are your goals?
Sure, I'll take that. So the general mission, of the college is it's here to serve the community, not just to provide, certificates and education and things like that, but to make sure that what we're providing is relevant to the community. So, we're fortunate in the REDC that we have, and the Yavapai College as a whole, we have very smart people who can look at the data in terms of what are the gaps and anticipating what those gaps might be in terms of, whether that be healthcare, whether that be fire service, whether that be management, whatever that looks like, so we can anticipate what that is. And so the RED and the REDC's mission underneath the Yavapai College umbrella is then to ensure that we're collaborating with those local businesses and organizations, employers, that we're filling that talent pipeline. And again, to make sure not that it's just relevant, but that those people are highly qualified and ready for the workplace. So not just having that base education and having a certificate in something that to say, hey, I can step into this job and I'm qualified, but all the other things that might go with that in terms of a career pathway. So before I get that job, I know how to dress. I know how to communicate with people. I can look them in the eye and have a conversation. My resume is up to date. I've practiced those things. I understand what the business is looking for. I understand the skill sets that are needed, and basically really prepping those people so they're ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So I hear soft skills and the actual hard skills.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We've established that there's obviously, it's much bigger than I thought. Those are monthly numbers that you're getting in for job openings. I heard over 700 easy, and there's probably a lot more than that you're not even getting. Let's talk about the Quest grant, and that's why we're really here, and what that means for a workforce that's looking to improve their skills. Maybe it's to move up. We were talking about it earlier, accommodating a talent pool that wants to move forward. We've got a lot of people here that are looking for that, and maybe they are not aware of what the grant, the Quest grant provides, especially in a time of inflation. Everything's expensive. Can't go to the supermarket without pulling out a mortgage. And so maybe some people aren't looking proactively to invest in education just because they think they're landlocked into this inflationary period. What is the Quest grant, and what can provide for these kind of folks?
Do you want to say that one?
Sure. So I'll start at the very beginning. So in 2022, the Department of Labor awarded Arizona $14 million to address dislocated and veterans that would like to upskill. The college, Yavapai College, and it was distributed amongst community colleges. We raised our hand and said, yes, we'd love to do this. So what it really means is we are focusing in on three industries. It is healthcare, manufacturing, and IT. We've been working on this for just over a year and a half now. And some of the things that we brought is, one of the things that we did a campaign for stop out students that have, 20, I think, or more credits, and trying to re-engage them in finishing their degrees. So that was one of the things we did with the money. One of the other big things we did with the money is we purchased a CDL simulator. I talked a little bit earlier, this one of the, we live on the cusp of the 40 and the 17, and we are 90 miles from Phoenix. CDL drivers is a big industry here.
You bet.
So we can't get them through fast enough. So we purchased a simulator, which is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd encourage anybody to go out and see it. And that takes some hours off of the actual course, out of the truck, and all those expenses, and lets them also get some experience on accidents or hazardous situations. So that was a really big deal. And then right now we are offering actually tuition-free programs. So we're doing Coursera online, and it has to fit into healthcare, IT, or manufacturing. And then we're doing some fast track programs at the college. There's 37 programs that are available. And we will pay all of the tuition for these courses.
Can you give some examples of, let's talk about manufacturing for a second, of what are some of these courses that you folks are providing?
Go ahead, if you know.
I don't.
Okay,
I'm gonna ask the expert.
So it's welding.
Okay.
So our welding program, our CNC program, electronics, our diesel tech, I'm looking over CDL, obviously, auto body.
Right.
So those are some of our manufacturing programs.
Which are huge in the community, right? You need
Yes.
logistics, you need trucks, you need cars. I know the auto techs make a very good living in that because they're more than just turning wrenches. They have to be electronic wizards, right? Whether it's an EV or I couldn't work on my truck if it broke down. It's
No,
one of
not
the new
anymore,
trucks.
right?
I
Yeah.
love it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
excellent. So, and then welding, for example, constantly looking for, as a homeowner, resources. And to your point, with all the shortages, I just can't find skilled people to come out in a timely manner anymore. And I'm not saying I need somebody right now, but to say, yeah, it's going to be 3 weeks before I can get out. Well, that's not going to work for me if I need something done now and I can't open up my gate. Plumbing, electrician, all these types of things, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about IT for a second. We're driven by IT. I think we all take it for granted. It's like cliche again. But the moment the internet goes down, we're all in a panic, or we have to change our mindset. What are we going to do? What are some of the courses in IT? Can you touch on what those are?
Sure. We have a couple cybersecurity courses. We have networking tech. We have software development. There's just about every avenue that you can think of in IT. The thing about the IT certificates are that a lot of people can stay here. Whether they find a job here in our community, they can work remotely. And the majority of them are very well-paying jobs. So
I bet. And then in healthcare, I know you got some great programs there. Can you list off a little bit about that?
So we start anywhere from caregiving, phlebotomy, up to a registered nurse.
Okay.
And, we just recently started the bachelor's degree in nursing. And I know have a long waiting list because the demand is high.
Right. And as is healthcare and the population that's up here. How important is it for older folks to know about these programs, not only for themselves that maybe want to continue in education, but for the people that they know that are looking for opportunity? How do we get the word out to them, to the grandparents and the parents, that this program or the Quest grant exists? Sometimes it's those trusted individuals or the guides and these younger people. And when I say younger, it might be a grandparent. That person might be 40 years old and just doesn't know where to go. Getting the word out and letting the community know about the Quest grant, what Yavapai College is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really important across all those levels, Guy. One, we've got a lot of older people in our community, obviously, in terms of our demographic. And there's a large portion of that demographic, who are actually, we've learned to looking to come back into the workplace. So that grant could be there to serve some of that older demographic for sure. But I think in terms of what you're describing and, what we've certainly seen is, whether it's the grandkids or the kids in between who are looking to upskill or looking to change direction. Like,
sure,
maybe I'm in a job and the job's okay, but now I'm ready for an actual career, right? So this grant that, Karen has explained and given the background on is there it's to service jobs as well, but it's really to service as well, somebody who's truly looking for a career. So would I want a career in nursing? Would I, do I want to become a welder? Or do I want something in automotive? Because those things are not going away, right? And they're going to be around forever. They are good living wage jobs, as you described earlier. And we have a shortage of all those things right across the board. So it's kind of ironic that we have that shortage, and it's made those things more marketable and more desirable. And it means that now you can make more money than you probably could 20 years ago in those industries.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think of it too, how things have shifted, and why I think this program is important. It's not just about changing direction or changing your career. I think a lot of people might be looking at it as I would be, is you're shifting with the economy that's changing drastically. Yes. The population has gotten older. We know that. So the demands in the marketplace have changed. You have, as you guys are pointing out, obviously as healthcare is one of them. We're overly driven by IT. I mean, you can't get away from it. That's another one where maybe somebody was making a good living, but sees another opportunity in IT because it really interests them. Before it was like, oh, I got to change the job. I got to get a better job. Now I think I like my job, but there's other opportunity because the changes in the last 10 years are phenomenal. I think people are starting to see that. And that's why I'm really interested in, when you talk about tuition free or partial, can you talk about how one can apply and who are some of your classic recipients of the grant for education?
Very good. So there is an eligibility, but where you can find out more information is at ycredc.com.
Perfect.
If you go there, you'll see the very first thing on the top of the page is Quest Grant. I'd encourage anybody, but if you can't get there, call the college. We all know about it. We can all direct you.
And we'll have the URL up on the video for you the whole time.
Great.
Yep.
But there are some prerequisites. You do have to be 18. You do have to have a social security number, and you do have to be authorized to work in the United States.
So I can apply.
Well,
Cool.
but there's more.
Okay.
So if you fill those three, then I would encourage you to go and see if the eligibility. And the eligibility is really about if you're a veteran or if you're a family member of a veteran, you instantly qualify. So
Fantastic.
yeah, that's great. And then the second qualification is dislocated worker. It took us a while to figure out what the DOL meant by that. Maybe a lot of people, maybe some lawyers know what that means, but really what it means is if you're unemployed or underemployed, or if you're affected by COVID. So if you can say any of those things, then you also qualify.
So let me give you a scenario. Let's see if this person qualifies as somebody I know. 2021, high school graduate, took some courses, didn't quite find her way, started her own little business, working hard, but is starting to realize maybe I should look at some programs for myself. Is that somebody that perhaps should apply? Okay.
Sounds like she
Absolutely.
definitely should. I will tell you, I do want to also let you know that the application and the eligibility does happen through the Arizona at Work
Okay.
system. So
Okay.
once we get them there, then we get them registered and someone will talk to them and say, yeah, you totally qualify.
I think one of the important things about surrounding this whole thing as well, Guy, is that, it's great for like the example that you just gave of that person, right? They should definitely be putting in an application. Anybody who's either looking to get into the workforce, get back into the workforce, feels like, I could be better at my job. There's something here that can help me, or looking to shift careers. But the other piece of that whole puzzle is, this message we really want to get out to the employers as well. So it's not exclusive for just people trying to get into the employment market who are already in there and searching for something different. But all our local employers at every single level, small business to big organizations, is you should be encouraging your people to get in and qualify for this, because the more you can develop your people, the better they can serve your business, your organization, the more they can drive it forward, the more that we can keep our Yavapai County economic development moving along. So it's good for everybody. And it's also good, particularly good for the employer, that if you initiate that, because then your people know that you actually care about them and you want to develop them.
They want to stay a little longer.
You want good things for them, and they're the next step on that talent pipeline that you have. You want them to stay with you. You don't want to turn people over. You want to keep them, develop them, and have them do the best they possibly can. So this message is really for everybody.
It is. And you brought up a good point. What I wasn't thinking of is making sure our business owners and our managers and our VPs and our HR people know. We know here at Talking Glass Media that when you find somebody good, you do what you can to hold on to them. And even if they're not a good fit where you originally put them, after working with them a while, we find they might be really good over here. And this involves a little more IT. Let's get you into this program so that you can help us out with the IT. We're finding a lot of that. We've been very successful working with Yavapai College with talent. in the media and arts, videographers predominantly. They come in, and the talent that we've gotten from Yavapai College has been great. I can think of at least 4 people. Anything else that you guys want to talk about?
I just want to tell you, but on the list is media production and graphic arts. So,
you guys have a lot of the college has a lot of programs. There's too many to list. We've got the URL up on the screen.
Okay.
We recommend you go to that website, apply, but also just explore it. There's dozens and dozens of programs: nursing, welding, IT, business certificate programs, whether that's Google or others. You mentioned logistics and trucking. I think of the flight simulators that I used to fly when learning, and how helpful that was in becoming a pilot. And when you're pulling a 100-foot, I don't know how long those trucks are, but if you really think about how important logistics are to us and how valuable, what happened to us during COVID when that stopped, I think people were a little nicer to those professionals, realizing they're just as important as everybody else in that chain, that supply chain, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I know we got Amazon moved up here, and I know the demand for those types of positions just keep growing, right?
I think one great thing to point out in terms of CDL and those truck drivers is that the program that Yavapai College currently runs is we're just about to put in another instructor and another truck, because we're trying to develop those people as fast as we possibly can, because the demand is there. And another great thing that we've been able to do is work with a couple of the local city organizations, so that we are now their one-stop shop for that, whereas they used to go to ADOT. Now they're coming exclusively to Yavapai Community College. One, because we can get the people in quicker. We're actually a little cheaper, and we have a 95% first-time pass rate, and nobody can match that. And so that's all great for the community. It's good for the college. It's good for the people. It's living wage jobs. It's those kind of partnerships that the REDC and Yavapai College continually work around the clock to develop those things and keep this whole thing turning.
Can I assume that part of what you guys are developing or already have is feeder programs or relationships with employers, that when folks go through these programs, say, hey, you might be a good fit over here, we know they're looking. Do you have relationships with employers like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our health sciences have had those relationships for many years with the local health organizations. Our technical facility over there by the airport, we've got 100,000 square feet of everything you can think
about
of.
CTEC?
Yes.
That's like my favorite place.
Yep. And
It's our favorite place too.
Right?
Everybody we take in there says the same thing, Guy, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was here. Whether it's welding, automotive, gunsmithing, CNC machining,
3D printing,
HVAC, 3D printing,
right?
Drones, pilot programs.
Yep.
Everything, one-stop shop under one roof, just amazing. But they have great connections as well. So pretty much everybody, not everybody, but pretty much everyone coming out in those programs is highly sought after immediately. Like the local employers, we're walking employers in there to meet these classes as well.
I think that's important for applicants to know, and employers, is it's not just about gaining the skill sets or the knowledge. It's also about the relationships and the gateways that these programs provide. Because I think that's a big fear of everybody is, I'll go through this program and you're paying for the tuition through the Quest grant, but then there's no opportunity. And with what you're saying is, with all these openings and shortages, 400, 500, 600, 700 a month, and having those relationships like, hey, Bobby, great job. This person's looking for that skill set. Go give them a call, which I think is valuable.
I'd like to add something to that. So he said healthcare, the clinicals that we have with all of the hospitals and the healthcare organizations, most of those, by the time they're done with their critical
graduate programs and where they're going.
They're graduated, right?
We publish those stories.
We do the same thing. Yes, we do the same thing with the mine out there. So they're in our diesel program saying, you're done, we'll hire you, kind of thing.
And I know those are great companies the mining
But
companies.
what I
Great
would
companies to
say, if
work
there's
for.
a company that's listening that would like to connect to our graduates, please call the REDC, because we can get you a connection to those classrooms or those program directors or whatever. Because we do have companies that go into our CNC program the second week and say, is anybody looking for a job? Right.
Right.
They're hiring before they're completed.
Right. Is there anything else you want to ask? We're good? There's one little pause. We're going to wrap it up. I really appreciate both of you being here. We might have you back in because, again, I'm a big fan of the program to see all people be able to kind of get more skills. And it's not a handout, it's a hand up. I think that's what I like about the program. The fact that you're automatically in and qualified as a veteran is another big thing. We have a very high veteran population up here, large veteran population up here. Appreciate both you, Karen, and Vince for coming in with the Regional Economic Development Center at Yavapai College. Have a great day and come in again.
Thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.